It's your Jewel, your dividend friend. I want to just kind of jump in because I heard something, and you know me, I like to kind of get things kind of hot off the press and just kind of see where it's at. Maybe it's legitimate, maybe it's not. But President Trump is proposing that once he does take the office and takes the oath, he's going to propose a cap on credit cards. Sounds pretty good to me. He was saying he's going to cap them at 10%. So the question comes in mind, okay, how are you going to do it? Is Congress going to approve it? But let's say that it did go through. I mean, Donald Trump has done a couple things that have been successful, and he's actually pushed things that most people couldn't get done. So let's just say if he were to be successful in doing, credit card capping. Now it's going to be temporary, you guys, not going to be permanent. But his goal is that the American people could actually catch up from, excessive, because we all know that credit card can be a huge burden and huge debt. But in velocity banking, remember, our goal here is to teach you how to become debt free, so you're not having that debt beast hunt you down. But whether you know it or not, most Americans, or those that are belting down with credit card debt, most people have at least $6,300 in credit card debt. That right there is very taxing. That's just one credit card. But could you imagine what you could do with $6,300? And because interest rates are so high, it would take them years and years to pay that down. In the meantime, credit card companies are just having a field day because they're charging you, in most cases, it's as less as 20%, but as much as 36%. So the credit card companies are the only ones that are getting enriched, and they're actually cheating the American people because they're charging you all that interest and you're paying it. So his goal is if he puts a cap in place for an indeterminate amount of time, it'll give people time to catch up. So let's just say if a person had, let's say $13,000 in credit card debt, 26% interest rate, they would give that credit card company an additional $10,000 just because of the 26% interest rate. If the way that President Trump is proposing, if it were to go through, then that $10,000 extra given out, it may only be about $4,000 or $5,000. Still a whole lot. That's why I tell you to understand velocity banking. When you understand velocity banking, you're just actually chunking off and paying multiple payments towards your principal, thereby eliminating the interest. So we have an active play and a part to play as well. If we play the bank's game, we have to play by the rules. But if we understand velocity banking or accelerated banking, same thing, you're able to eliminate paying excessive amounts of interest. And also, did you know something about these credit card companies? You guys, remember, there's always going to be some kind of a sanction on anything you do in the United States. There's so many different governing bodies that'll sanction you and say, you can go this far, but you can't go this far. Did you realize that when it comes to a credit card company, it was something called the National Debt Act? The National Act actually put boundaries in place for credit card companies so they couldn't charge excessive amounts of, interest. But because the states are the ones that actually impose those rules, guess what? Some states are like, no, we're going to limit the amount of interest you can charge. Other states are like, oh, we don't care. So if you look it up, it's fact. Your credit card companies will come out of either South Dakota, Delaware, or Utah, because those states actually have permissible rate rules, which means that if it's permissible, they're going to do it. If they can charge you 40% interest rate and get away with it, they're going to do it. So as President Trump is proposing that he'd like to go ahead and slash and cap interest rates for a temporary basis, allow American people to catch up, any amount of relief is going to help. And of course, you get, let's say if you're able to take it down from 30% to 10%, can you imagine how much you can pay down towards your debt using velocity banking? You can smash your debt in record time because you've learned the principle of throwing excessive amounts of cash at the principal, not the payment, because the overall payment, they're going to chunk off their interest payment. They're going to let you pay a little bit on principal. With velocity banking, you're in the driving seat and you're actually saying, nope, I'm going to designate a large amount of my money toward the principal. That way I can eliminate paying so much interest and I can run down my debt. That's the goal. So will President Trump be successful? I don't know. People talked about, student loan debt. Joe Biden can't do it. Joe Biden can't do it. But I'm a living witness. I have my husband, he had $125,000 of an engineering degree, completely forgiven, completely wiped away. So, hey, certain things they say, they do happen. So let's just hope that when it comes to this one, that he can actually capitalize, and he will say, yep, I made a campaign promise, I've kept the promise. And we can see credit card debt actually slashed temporarily, not permanent. But as we know how all good government works, it has to go through Congress. They have to approve it. We know how the Democrats, Republicans, they kind of fight back and forth. But let's just hope that if he's proposing this, that it's going to actually help the American people, because there's nothing like being in debt, nothing like having debt just choking you and you can't see, ends from means, and you're robbing people to pay Paul. But at that point, I'm going to really encourage you to look at my videos. We talk about velocity banking. We talk about how to pay off debt in record amount of time. We're talking about using your positive cash flow. That is the amount that's left over after you pay all your bills, and working from that angle. But also, you don't have to even have cash flow to allow velocity banking to work for you. You guys, this is a proven way. It's getting more traction. More people are getting on board with it. It will change your life. It changed my life. It's a game changer. It's using lines of credit to run down your debt in record amounts of time. Now, you may say a line of credit is nothing more than debt accumulation. It is not that. You're targeting that line of credit to work for you. So you are learning how to shift your mindset and cause your money to work for you. Anytime you can use any kind of a debt tool, which would be something like a private savings account, it could be a credit card, it could be a line of credit. Those are things you use to run down that debt. And as I said before, you can't pay your house off in 5 to 10 years, but it's knowing how to do it. So instead of waiting for President Trump to possibly slash your credit card rates, why don't you just go ahead and start taking a look at the videos and realizing that, hey, no time like the present. You can get on this program. You can work velocity banking. You don't need a second job. We just always say you need to make more than you spend, and you have to be intentional about paying your debt down. You guys, it's not hard at all. And also my videos, I like for my clients to say, take a look at my finances. I look at them, but I'm like, hey, you guys have money, you just don't know how to use it. You are sitting on a load of dough, but you don't know how to put it in the right places. I'm here to help you with that. But also I'm going to say, for those of you that are just really curious and really have a desire to get out of debt, take a look at my chart. Just pour your numbers in. I do so many different scenarios, so many different people's numbers. You can look and say, okay, then my numbers closely match that. My income closely matches that. My expenses match that. And you can do velocity banking. It is not hard. So I'm going to back over it again. They're looking at proposing credit card rate temporarily being slashed to 10%, eliminating those 20 and 30% credit card interest rates temporarily. That'll give you time to catch up, because many Americans are at least $6,300 in credit card debt. That is on one credit card, so that you can play catch up. But if they don't do it because they started fighting about reps, the senates, I call it the donkey and the, but anyway, I'm a dividend friend. I'm here until you win. Subscribe to my channel, like my channel. You're gonna learn so much. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.